Welcome to another Buddies, Booze, Banters, Unfiltered Conversations. I am Rick.
I'm Michael.
You may have noticed that we're in a little bit of a different environment today.
We are.
And you might also notice that our Alex, our producer, is not with us today.
Aw, that's poor thing.
We are on a budget when it comes to actually bringing, tag-along people. Just for the record, we are in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic.
Woo!
We have been here since the 3rd of June. And we've had some great, exciting times. Since then, we are definitely in paradise. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this place is absolutely beautiful. The people are incredible.
Can we talk about the resort we're staying at?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and just as a clarification, this is not a promotional for the actual resort. We actually just want to talk about it just simply because it is a great resort.
It is. We're staying at the Dreams Tide. And it is
It's actually Secrets Tides.
Secrets Tides. That's bad with me.
And the reason he did that, Michael sometimes actually stumbles over his words, is we are actually located right next door to Dreams, as well as
it's part of the same organization
all together. So it's a legitimate stumble on his words.
Totally. And we're here with my brother, sister-in-law, and our friend Jennifer, who you've met before. She was on an episode or two on our podcast earlier.
For the Eclipse episode.
And it's a great resort. The rooms are unbelievable.
Yeah.
The pool's unbelievable. And might not be able to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. They have mine and Rick's drink alcohol of choice.
Which, let me just tell you something. Everywhere we go on the last couple of years when we went to certain resorts, they never had it. Last year I actually had to, get our driver to buy it off on the market in Mexico just so that I could actually have my particular brand. Michael didn't do that, but I mean, I definitely have
But Crown Royal and 7-Up is mine.
And mine is Belvedere water, a splash of cranberry. Again, neither of those are actually promotional aspects for those particular brands.
But if you want to sponsor us in the future, we're more than happy to.
100% would love to have you on board. Well, I mean, let's talk about our first day here. I mean, it was really a travel day for the most part.
Yeah,
the 3rd.
On Monday.
You guys, Jennifer and I went a different route than you did.
Yes.
I was actually in Atlanta for 2 days first. And then her and I jumped on from Atlanta down to Fort Lauderdale, then over into Punta Cana, and you went a different route to Chicago.
Dallas to Chicago to Dominican.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but Chicago makes no fucking sense to me.
It was the airline we flew on.
Yeah, and a great airline, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's just the only airline, and anybody out there will know exactly what it is, that still gives you free check bags.
Yes.
So always try to go on that particular airline, just simply
you do not have a seat assignment, but you get a seat number to get up.
Now you really know what the airline number name is. There's no doubt about it.
I'm helping you. So what's the point?
Yeah, but we really got to resort. I brought around 5 p.m. After a travel day. We were tired, but I mean, we really got the tour of the resort itself, and then we were able to jump straight into a nice dinner as well. So, what's your first take as soon as you're on your first date, Mike?
It's a nice resort. It's laid out. You're going to do a little walking, which
and
is
it's brand
good.
new, folks. It's only been out since January 15th. Now I know this is coming off as a promotional video for this particular resort. It is not, but we're excited about being here. We're excited about how they treated us.
Yeah, because it's like because we're talking to some of the staff that's new. They started working here like in November. But they didn't. It's like for the first 3 months, they were getting the lay of the area and all that stuff is, and then it's like slowly they've started to have more and more people, and it's just like it is a beautiful resort. The beaches here is just unbelievable. Usually in Mexico, sometimes you have seaweed on the beach. Yeah, no seaweed
and very
whatsoever.
rocky in some cases. Yeah. There's broken shells, and that's what we experienced in Huatuca. Although the cove was beautiful last year in Huatuca, this year the sand is just beautiful. It's soft. The ocean water is actually very cool. So it's kind of surprising. I mean, I guess it is summertime, but temperature-wise, we have been hovering between 88 and probably about 95 with a kind of an index of about 101.
I mean, the weather is, we've had rain almost every day.
Except for today.
When I say rain, it rains for just a little bit, but then it goes away.
I am absolutely not complaining about the rain, folks.
And so it's like you're not getting the direct sun, so it's like it'd be overcast, maybe just a little rain, and then it clears.
I think with my drink and the little bit of rain has made a paradise for me.
Yeah. So a lot of times we get our chairs by the pool, but then most of the time we're in the pool at the swim-up pool bar. Yeah. And then we have
that's a swim-up pool
after
bar.
drinks after drinks.
And they actually have Belvedere there. Oops, sorry, Belvedere as well there. So I'm a very happy man.
Yes.
There's no doubt for sure. The second day obviously was just really just relaxation.
Yeah.
Have a good time. We had a nice dinner. I think that we went to, I can't remember which one. They have a series of different style cuisine restaurants here on the
Was
actual
it the
resort.
steak place the first night?
Yeah, it was. Well, it was the seaside, and then the second one.
But we had steak.
Right. Correct. Well, some people did. I didn't. But yeah. So I mean, again, the restaurants, there's like 4 or 5 or 6.
And then
restaurants.
Portofino, the Italian place, was the second night.
Third night.
Third night. All right.
Yeah.
You lose when you.
No, it's a brand new one that just opened up. Is what it is.
Yeah, that's the one we went to the second night.
Third night was an Italian. Last night was Mexican, and tonight we'll actually do a hibachi type situation. So again, you have a lot of opportunities to really kind of enjoy the cuisine, have a great time, and especially kind of pick and choose what you really want to do. If you want to do hibachi, 6 days a week, and maybe a little bit tougher because that's the only place you have to do reservations.
And the resort is all inclusive, so your meals and booze are all included.
But I'm going to make a reminder to everybody out there, because this is kind of rude, especially when it comes to Americans and some Europeans for that fact, is when you're on an all-inclusive resort, tip your people.
Yes.
I mean, when you come to these type of, geographical areas, whether it be Mexico, whether Costa Rica, whether it's, here in Dominican Republic and others, and even in Puerto Rico, which is actually a part of the United States, these people are working on minimum amount wages. So anything that you can provide to them as a tip is not only appreciated by them, but it goes a long way to actually take care of them and their families.
Well, and then also tipping, you're going to get 10 times better service, and your drinks are going to be that much stronger.
No doubt. We did actually have one excursion out yesterday, which
was his favorite that he'd been wanting to do before we even came. He talked about it.
I mean, and it's the same thing when we were actually in Huatuca. I mean, I actually love ATVs. I love dune buggies. I love anything that I can get mudded in. And there was no doubt we were not let down yesterday.
No, we were not.
Now, I will say that the cheeks of my ass, because I have no butt, is killing me today. Just simply because when there is no cushions on the seats and you're bouncing around like crazy as you're hitting all the little potholes. But we'll definitely have, at least on some of the ad we put out there, we'll have some photographs of us just covered in mud. I mean, it was just a great morning, in my opinion. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
But I'm telling all the people that go to the spa to get mud baths, that's very expensive there. I'm just saying, it's just do the buggy ride.
Do the buggy ride, yeah.
It's like
it's free,
you get
really.
mud all over. It's all over your arms. It's in my ears. Yeah. It was all over my legs. It was everywhere. A part of body. It was mud.
And the funny thing I should say is that all the 5 of us actually wore a white T-shirt purposely. And there's no way that you could not see how muddy we were. Again, it's fun because you obviously go through some certain trails and you hit the mud and all that, and you actually stop off. The first one has a little beach area that you stop off for about 30 minutes. You can have some cocktails. You can have some, drink and drive. And then you can actually have some food if you want, but also enjoy the beach, and take photographs. Naturally, you're going to have a lot of the locals trying to put things on you, sell things to you and all that, but that's just kind of typical.
But, I mean, these were big potholes. It was an open buggy. So it's like when you just floored it and went through it, I mean, the mud puddles would just come underneath, up above, in your waist, cover your legs, and then shoot up over your head and all over your back.
I will say, though, I was actually the last buggy, so I didn't actually experience, and I did have some people in front of me who initially that were just horrible drivers. It was like stop and go. I was like, are they in Dallas or whatever, I got hit by a lot of people who were on the opposite side going in the opposite direction. So I still got covered completely. But, I mean, if you actually saw the photographs, they all were covered a whole hell of a lot more than I was.
But he also doesn't know how to operate it.
Oh, bullshit.
Because it was like my brother and sister-in-law were in front of us. And it was just like, all right, you're up there next to them. But then when it comes to, when you see the pot coming, you just stop and let them go through it and all that stuff is. So then that way you can gun it. So it doesn't matter if there's somebody slow. You just stop for a while, let them get ahead, and then you just slam
he
through it.
He can say that I don't know how to operate it, but obviously he wasn't in my situation where I had this young couple where I don't know if she was dictating to him or vice versa, or he was just a wuss. But he literally didn't. I mean, he actually ran into a fence and literally stalled the actual dune buggy. So I mean, as much as Mike want to sit here and prod me and all that, say that I don't know how to drive or I don't know how to do those particular like.
But there were 5 of us, and one of the shirts we were all white. One of the shirts still had about half white showing.
Yeah.
And then guess which one it was?
Well, I mean, well, first of all, I was actually in the dune buggy by myself. I was the only one who was in there by myself. So
violins coming out.
Whatever. And then, of course, today, and I'm so glad we did. We kind of took a day of rest, and we really are here until Monday of this coming week. Day of rest is something, like I said, the cheeks of my ass are just still killing me. I think I have a few other bumps everywhere else on my body. I'm sure some bruises will pop up in the next couple of days. There's no doubt about it. So rest was great. But what we did experience last night was a little bit of a disappointment. And it actually had nothing to do with the resort. It had nothing to do with the Dominican Republic. What did it have to do with, Mike?
It's my Mavs. I mean, before that, the Stars did not make it to the finals. Yeah. They lost in the conference finals. They had a great season. Mavs, we already discussed, they're in the finals. They played game 1 last night in Boston. And at the resort, there are several people from the Dallas area here.
Oh, quite a bit.
And then there's also several people from the Boston area here.
Yeah, there was a lot of yelling.
And so basically there was a lot of there's a sports bar here at the resort. And then we went there to kind of started watching the game or whatever. But it was hyped up because it's the NBA Finals or whatever. Game 1 and all that stuff is.
This is it.
Started out the very beginning. It was very close. And then all of a sudden, Boston just blew it open. They were up by like 30 points.
Really, in the first quarter.
Well,
they were making strides.
Well, but it was like 18-19 at one point.
Yeah, but I mean,
but then after that, it just exploded. But the one thing I'll say about, the Mavs, they were down by 30 points. They ultimately cut the lead to 8 points in the fourth quarter, and looked like they were doing it. They were everything, and then Boston went on 11-0 run. But the one thing I'll say here is it's only game 1. It's the best. It's the best of 7.
Yeah.
I mean, most of all the players that are on the Mavs, this is the first time that they've ever played in an NBA final, so I'm sure the nerves got to them a little.
There's no doubt. I think you can actually see them when they were sitting on the sidelines. They were a little nervous too.
But also, in all 4 series so far, in the first 3 series that Mavs were in, they lost the first game, they won the second game, and they won the series. So we all we need to do is win 1 in Boston, because come the 12th, in Dallas will be game 3, and we'll be back, and I'm going to be there rooting my Mavs off.
Well, first of all, we want them to win the second game.
I know. I said we want them to win.
Want them to go home with a win in their pockets already, for sure. I mean, Mike obviously was disappointed. We all were disappointed, but I mean, he got very subdued when that game was just.
But
blown
I mean,
out.
it's like I've been to so many games. It's just like it's not over till it's over. But then all the stuff is, and it's only game 1. You can't win them all. And like I said, Mavs have lost the first game in every series this time, and they have won it. They've got a great team. They did not play well. But you look at it but even though they did not play well in that game, they were down by 30, and they did bring it back to 8 points. And they had a shot and then kind of did it. But their 3-point shots were not going. They were defense kind of sucked. There were some turnovers. But like I said, I say it. I put it on the nerves because it was Luka's first time in the NBA Finals, and it's like you can be the great player, but still your first time ever in the finals is overwhelming.
Well,
there's a lot of pressure on him.
Well, not just because it's the first finals that he's gone to. I mean, all the stats that are actually being presented about him and really being like should have been the MVP of the entire season, and
But he could be the NBA in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And the finals.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. So, I mean, there is obviously going into this series a tremendous amount of pressure on the entire team, but definitely, Kari and Luka. There's no doubt about it. But I think that they actually have what it takes to win.
They do. They do. They have the talent. They got the team.
Yeah. And
it's like, okay, they had a bad game. Yeah. That's how, it's nobody's perfect.
Let me tell you, Boston fans are not the nicest either. They just are not, So. Yeah. It's a given. People we know Boston are horrible fans. There's no doubt about it.
But the one thing, I mean, just overall in Dallas sports right now, it's like, I think a while back we showed you how long it's been for the conference finals for each team. All that stuff is, and the Cowboys being so far is, there's a new TikTok out there where it has somebody from the Mavs and saying, I'm doing my thing. And then somebody from the Stars doing, I'm doing my thing. And then somebody from the Texas Rangers and saying, I'm doing my thing. And then a guy from the Cowboys goes, I'm doing no damn thing, or was something to that effect or whatever. It's
well, what they should have had is just crickets, because there's nothing coming out of that particular era, part of the team sports.
I mean, this is just all this stuff that's going on is a total slap in the face to Jerry Jones.
And we all know his narcissistic ego is not going to really, accept that too well. Maybe that's one of the why the rumors are spreading. He's thinking of selling the team. Who knows? Which he should. I mean, he should. It's either he bails as retires, and hands it to his son, or he just sells it.
Because what would be so embarrassing to him is if he does turn it over to his son
and they start winning,
and he gets completely out of it, and then they win a championship.
How can you actually be jealous of your son doing well for something that you didn't?
Something that he couldn't do?
I get
the
that,
ego.
But I mean, that just tells you what type of personality and what type of man he is.
Well, we know that.
Horrible. There's no doubt about it. Well, I mean, moving on from sports, naturally, just because we are in paradise of Punta Cana and Dominican Republic does not mean that we do not pay attention to what the hell is going on in politics. Especially.
Speak for yourself. Well, it's just like out of
sight,
out of mind.
He says this, but he's the first one to put CNN on and watch the news and seeing what's going on, specifically the politics. Now, when we were actually, I guess it was Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday somehow, is when a couple of the cases, specifically against Donald Trump, he got some reprieves. Go figure. Number one was obviously in the Georgia case, where the actual appeals court has basically put it on indefinite pause simply because they want to muddle through how it was handled on recusing herself or whatever. Because she was sleeping with her lead prosecutor, whatever. I don't know. Bottom line is, if in fact that everybody had to recuse themselves because they did something first about sleeping with somebody else, Donald Trump would never have been president. Let's be honest.
I mean, every court's given Trump every benefit of the doubt possible.
And yet it's still a hoax. It's still a witch hunt against him, which we know it's bullshit. And the other one, of course, is not surprising. And we have that Trump appointee Judge Cannon down in Florida, who has basically just thrown one more day and one more day and one more day on all the different emotions that either side have actually put out there, including one that's actually trying to, the defense has put out there saying that the special prosecutor is unconstitutional, which it's ironic. First of all, this has been argued before, and most experts out there will tell you that's bullshit.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it was done by the Attorney General, which is the whole process. It was actually established. The whole, I guess, the rules and the laws that were associated to special prosecutors, that did run its course at one point. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was renewed or whatever, but it still has the discretion of the Attorney General to do that. And to take it out of the hands of partisan, as they like to say it, which is not true because the Attorney General is not partisan, and put it into somebody who's going to be open-minded and making sure we know that it's that's what they did, But she has actually put a pause on it, which is ensuring 100% that there's no way that actual case is actually going to go to trial. It wasn't
going before the election anyway.
No, there's no doubt about it.
She had accomplished that or whatever.
What I did read on recently, though, in the last couple of days, is a lot of her colleagues as well as attorneys who've been in her court have said that she has this control factor about her. And she literally, first of all, she was 7 years as a prosecutor in the Justice Department. No other experience. She literally was only on 4 cases ever in her entire history as a lawyer, and yet she's now on a federal district court, which makes sense.
You could tell she's in over her head. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's what everybody has to get in the job your first time, and you learn all that stuff is. But the thing that
you reach out and you talk to people.
And she's not or whatever. But the thing that gets me is I don't listen to what the Democrats say about her, because that's going to all be partisan. I listen more to.
What have the Democrats really said about her?
Well, but there's been people and all this other stuff. But I listen to more of the Republicans that are just questioning what she's doing.
Yeah, her approach is completely.
I mean, it's just like
biased, really. I mean, it looks biased.
Yeah, and it's like that's the part that I look. I don't look at the Democrats. Whatever they say is, I ignore all that stuff. I just listen to some of the the right Republicans on there, and just what they're saying about her. And it's just like some of the rulings that she's doing is just not. But I look at it this way: she's making that she's going to try to see if the prosecutor, the special prosecutor, is valid or whatever, and then let her rule that it's not, and then it'll go to the appeals court, and then they'll have a chance to reverse it and get her off this case.
Yeah, I mean that's ultimately what needs to happen. And because of the seriousness of this case, not just because it's a former president being prosecuted, but the fact that we actually had top secret documents involved, and this is national security. If somebody is not experienced enough to handle that, they should not be on the case. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, there you go. We've got two cases that obviously Trump has got some reprieve.
But there's another case that basically is going to happen in July. And so Trump, if he got elected, could not pardon Bannon. Bannon.
Well, we're going to talk about that one here in a second. And actually, it's not a trial that's actually occurring. It is fact Bannon's fucking going to jail. Yes. His appeals have run its course. And if anybody is, and I didn't hear the outtakes. I just saw some of the lines that I actually put out there. The motherfucker's running scared. I mean, he knows that he's going to be someone's bitch in jail. Let me just tell you, because simply he is running scared, and he really thought that he was above the law, and he really thought that he could do anything and everything to really just kind of push that out. So eventually, maybe somebody gave up, but it was a contempt of Congress. It's as simple as that. It's clear cut. Mm-hmm. You were subpoenaed. You were not currently working with the executive branch when you were subpoenaed. You had no right to sit here and say it was executive privilege. Bottom line is you were a civilian. You were just another American citizen, and you had no right to sit here and put your finger up against the Congress.
No.
And now you're going to pay the price for it.
Right. And he was convicted 3 years ago.
Yeah, legitimate.
But then Trump pardoned him when he left office or whatever. So
well, that was on something different.
Well, I know it was something different, but he was found guilty on that too.
But I mean, I really do look. I mean, well, I definitely look forward to Trump being in an orange suit. But I would love to see Bannon in a pink one. I mean, I'm just mind boggled to think that this guy, I mean, first of all, I mean, he's ugly as fuck, I mean, he doesn't take care of himself. I don't know how anybody can even remotely watch him on his podcast, number one, and his channel. It amazes me that he was a naval officer. It amazes me that he was actually an investment banker. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. And how we got into the media side of things, I don't know. But I'm excited. And, of course, he's out there spouting all types of bullshit out there, and same thing that, Donald Trump is saying, it's a witch hunt and this and that. No, you broke the law, dude. Simple as that. And you are not above the law. Just like if I did the exact same thing, I would go to jail for it, too. So,
but yeah, no, but I think it came as a shock because it's like, I don't think he thought it was happening, but July 1st?
July 1st, he has to report. And I don't know what other appeals or what other delays he can do.
He'll try, but it looks like it's not.
I mean, and to be spiteful, and I know they won't do this, but I would definitely, walk him out in handcuffs in front of the cameras as much as I possibly could, just to simply sit there and tell him he can't say a damn thing.
He'll say something.
No, I don't know. Put one of those Hannibal Lecter things on him. Shut him up forever. Well, hey, as you said, Trump's obviously, the nominee. There's no doubt about it. He's the nominee for the GOP. What is interesting, he has not picked a VP sidekick.
But he's not going to. I heard he's not going to do it until the convention,
which is completely out of the norm.
No, it's not. Used to. That's when they did it.
He was saying after the convention.
No, he said at the convention.
Yeah, I'd be surprised about that.
But I heard at the convention.
Let's kind of dissect a little bit in regards to his selection process. Now, we all know that, Trump has this obsession with beautiful women. Mm-hmm. And so
that's why the South Dakota governor was high on the list.
Absolutely.
Until her wretched book tour that just plummeted her down. But you never know. He might put a comeback on that. Honestly, never.
Well, he's also narrowed down the list of certain candidates based upon how hot their wives are. So, there's no joke here, folks. This is literally his team has put out their request for materials from the North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Senators J.D. Vance, Senator Marco Rubio, and others. There's been inquiries sent to Tim Scott and Tom Cotton. Which, what the hell? I mean, well, first of all, Tim Scott's not even married.
He's not?
No, he's the one in
South Carolina.
Yeah, he's the black guy in South Carolina. Now, there's been rumors about him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden he got
plays for our team.
But he also got all of a sudden he got, you know, when the rumors came out, all of a sudden he got engaged to a female. So I found that extremely interesting. But yeah, there's also the expectation that he's either going to try to go for a female or he's going to try to go for a minority.
Yeah.
You know, and just simply because he thinks if he puts that in his pocket and stifles them when they're in office, he's going to get elected.
Right.
Which is just it's a bullshit factor, folks.
I mean,
you know?
But there is some truth to it because there's some naive people out there that are just going to say, "Oh, he did
25% that we know of the Americans out there are pretty stupid."
Yeah,
let's be honest. It's as simple as that. So, what I also found interesting, not about the wives situation, which is kind of just disgusting, to be honest with you, is you know how Speaker Johnson is just coming out and just had his head so far up Trump's ass in regards to just anything. You know,
well, it's not just him. Everybody on the Republican side. Can you name one person besides Mitt Romney that is currently in the House or Senate?
Not actively, no.
That is not kissing his ass.
Not actively. Well, the interesting thing about it is there's a core of conservative. We're talking. We don't really want to call them conservatives because they're really just maggots. You know, the MAGA maggots. You are basically pushing Speaker to put it to the floor, a bill, which we know will never pass the Senate, which is it's just for show to sit here and keep his ego up there, that would allow Trump, when elected, to remove his own convictions, not just federally, but also state, which then we start to really kind of get into muddy waters here, folks, because, you know, it's a republic, you know, and there's 50 states. Each of those have their own justice departments. You have no right as a federal government to step in and supersede a conviction that came down from a group of peers.
Well, and see, my point of view is like, I'm all for him to go ahead and do that.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean,
because then it just shows middle America what they're trying to do.
And it will hit the floor of the House. There's no doubt about it. It will stall from there on because
the
issue that they're having right now is not all the Republicans are signing on, especially the moderate ones.
Well, I know, but it's like, just let them do it. Push all this extreme stuff because number one is middle of America that's in the middle needs to see what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
That is the part is because I saw some people that I saw an interview or whatever a week ago or whatever. These people are saying, oh, the economy was so great with Trump and all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, what the hell were you talking about?
You know, the economy is, definitely great when you're locked down, folks. I mean, there's nothing on the shelves because there's no production going on. I mean, that's great. I mean, you all seem to forget that. But what you all do believe is that was when Biden was in office.
Mm-hmm.
You know, first of all, who locked the country down? Donald Trump. Why did he get locked down by him? Because he fucked up in the first place with actually handling the pandemic. You know, so, you know, all this bullshit about how, you know, Biden did this and Biden did that. No, Biden's been cleaning up the mess. You know, and again, yes, there are so many issues with Biden, you know, in regards to, you know, his age and, you know, I don't know, you know, maybe he is waning a little bit in some of the meetings. I don't know. I don't care. He is better than Trump.
But the first debate is supposed to be what, in a month?
27th of June.
Oh.
So it's coming up.
A couple of weeks.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, if in fact Trump shows up, and if in fact he doesn't push back on the actual agreement where they said there's no audience, then the mics are being turned off when they're finished talking, that'll be interesting to see if it even happens.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so no fingers crossed on that one. Trust me. So,
I agree.
You know, well, we don't actually anticipate having long podcasts while we're here, folks, but we do appreciate you spending the time with us. And I really just want to say one particular thing here. We are actually in the 80th anniversary of D-Day in Normandy. And I mean, obviously, it's such a good time to talk about that. I mean, it's you know, we've had probably I think there was 30 British officers or 30 British former military individuals, and I think there was like 12 or 13 that came from the United States into France to actually commiserate that. And that's the last of this will probably be the last time, because they do it every 5 years, so they're able to commiserate, and really be recognized for the sacrifices that they made. And there was a lot of sacrifices made that day. There's no doubt about it. But what's more importantly, that was the beginning of rescuing, whatever way, democracy. It was, stomping out Nazism. It was stomping out Hitler. It was making sure that, democracies around the world continue to flourish. And let's all remember that day, that weekend on Normandy, but also remember that, history has a sometimes about repeating itself. Let's not make it happen, folks. Let's not make it happen. So, anyways, thank you for joining us today on this interesting podcast episode from Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, which we like to say paradise. Thanks again for our Buddies, Booze, Banters, Unfiltered Conversations. I'm Rick.
I'm Michael.
Till next time.
Yes, we'll be here. You be there too.